I was a little shocked at how they came out and started the game. And it really seemed like Anthony Edwards was the only one, which leads me to something else that I want to talk to you guys about, which is just how difficult it is for some of these guys to play a totally different role. Like we're going to talk more about Anthony Edwards, but Anthony Edwards is primarily a number one guy, right? And primarily has been a number one guy. Sometimes, maybe at times, a number two guy with Cat, right? Certainly this year, I thought he was the number one guy. He hasn't had to change a role. The guys that have had some success, I was thinking about this, some success on this team, like Austin Reeves at times has been really good. Tyrese Halliburton at times has been really good. Josh Hart, Brunson, Mikal Bridges. All these guys have had to shape shift roles in the NBA. So for them, I think it's a little bit easier to then come on a team with a bunch of guys. Your minutes are sporadic, your touches, your role is, but like they understand, because for them to get to this point in their career, to get to this stage and be on Team USA, they had to figure that out in year 1 and year 2 and year 3 and year 4, right? That's how these Team USA rosters are built. On the other side of that is Brandon Ingram, who at times has really struggled, although he had a better, first quarter on, he had a better game today in terms of counting stats. But Brandon, I don't think even when he was on the Lakers, I don't think at any point in time he was the third guy. He certainly hasn't been the fifth guy in a starting lineup, maybe the third, but for the most of his career, he's been A1 or A2. And I think he's probably had the most difficult challenge. And look, I follow a bunch of people on Pell's Twitter, and he's getting bashed. And this is not to like give him a break or make an excuse for him. I'm just providing a little bit of context for how this roster was built and how some of these guys built their careers. For Josh Hart, give me Josh Hart on any team in the NBA. He will figure out a way to contribute to winning. That's his gift. That's his talent, right? Brandon Ingram is a primary scorer who's now being asked to not be a primary scorer. Of course, it's going to take probably more than 5 games to figure that out.
No, yeah. I think the context there is important. A lot of conversation about Brandon Ingram, but think about it. The time they've been together, and you look at that initial starting lineup with Brandon Ingram, with Anthony Edwards, with Jalen Brunson, you noticed hesitancy. You noticed thinking. It looked like Jalen Brunson wanted to attack and then, okay, let me swing it. Brandon Ingram would catch. Do I hold? Do I shoot? Do I drive? Do I swing? Those are things that it's tough to take that skill set and compact it into that when you're also expected to score and stay aggressive. So that's, for me, I was like, I understand why they split it and made it work. But I wish people kind of understand that's not an easy thing to do, especially if you know you have the talent and you're in the starting lineup for a reason. You're on this team for a reason, to score. But now you have to have a better flow. And I feel like B.I. caught the brunt of it. But it's just, it's tough. Like those windows that you have, we talk about creating advantages offensively, it's a snap decision. And I felt like early on for this Team USA team, everyone was holding it and waiting until Anthony Edwards said, hey, I'll shoot.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, for me, I kind of find myself on both ends of it with Brandon Ingram in particular, because Steve, you're absolutely right. Like that's not an easy thing to do. To be a primary guy like he is, and then come on this Team USA group with a bunch of guys that he hasn't played with before and bite-size it and make an immediate impact. On the other end of it, though, in terms of, quick decision-making, willingness to take shots off the ball, off the catch, like that's never really been Brandon Ingram. I think we can all agree Brandon Ingram is a really good shooter when he's set. His willingness to do so when he gets those opportunities, it's kind of hit or miss. Like he is naturally a catch and hold type of guy. And I do think zooming out, like being able to scale up or down based on who you're playing with, like that is a skill in and of itself. And so
100% it is. Yeah, I agree.
And so with, I guess, moving past Brandon Ingram, it kind of got me into thinking about how Team USA is built, because they do like to get your Josh Harts and other guys that just kind of fit in immediately. I guess my question is, like, what exactly is the threshold for adding primary guys to a Team USA group? Like, can you only have 3 of those guys before getting into who can complement?
Right. It's a great question. I went back and I looked at a bunch of the box scores, and I watched the '08 Olympics, the Redeem team. I went back and I looked at a bunch of box scores, and look, to some extent, I think that was a different situation, right? It was the first time, we hadn't won the gold medal. Coming off the first time we hadn't won the gold medal with NBA players. That group was hungry. Kobe, was Kobe. He was a psycho. To your point about Brandon Ingram, like, I think in some ways, Coach K, talked to Kobe because Kobe was like refusing to shoot the basketball. He's like, no, we need you to be Kobe. That to me is a hard thing to do in these environments. It's like how all these guys are good. But you look back at those box scores and it's like D Wade took 3 shots against Argentina, 5 shots, something like that against Argentina. CP had a game where he took 4 shots in 27 minutes. Like, then D Wade in the gold medal game against Spain was a motherfucker. It's like Kobe was going to get 10 to 15 shots. LeBron had a game. He had 9 shots, like in a close game against a big time opponent. Like, I think there is a level of sacrifice, but it's like finding that perfect balance of still being yourself. Like, watching this morning, even Banchero at times, to your point about hesitancy, I was like, dude, shoot the ball. Like, what? You're just going to refuse to shoot a 15-footer.